Hello, hello. The computer says that I'm live, so I'm just gonna trust that I'm live. But for whoever is listening, let me know in the comments if you can hear me good. In the meantime, I'm just gonna start because this is pretty exciting for me since it's my first time. My first time seeing these new sets. So let's get started. As you know, I have a thing, and most of my watercolors lately have been using the schminke supergranulating colors, and I'm just gonna show you here a sample like I printed from their website with all the sets that they have. And I used to have this one, the Galaxy one, which is really a nice pinks and browns, and the Tundra. And I had the forest. The forest was this awesome green. So I had 3 sets out of all of this. But turns out, oh hi Johan, and by the way, hi Marlena, welcome and thank you so much for joining me tonight. However, they came up with new sets. They came up with the Volcano set, which is really nice yellow, orange, reds. And the desert set, which is like really muted oranges and yellows. And you know how I like oranges and yellows, and especially muted colors. What else did they came up with? They came up with this set called Shire, right? And this one, which is Deep Sea. And another one which I cannot find, which is the Haze, but I cannot find anywhere. So I'm just going to assume it no longer exists, but that was on Grace. But what did I do? I went ahead and actually bought the Volcano, the Desert, and the Shire. However, the Shire was out of stock, so I'm just going to have to wait a little bit for it. But I got these other 2 sets, and they're a little bit different than the previous sets. The previous sets were only in 5 milliliter tubes, so very tiny. But these other sets, the new sets, they come in big tubes, like 15 milliliter tubes. They're also more expensive, right? Because they're 50 milliliter tubes. But it's okay because I love these colors and they're super granulating. That means it will create like some really interesting patterns when you put them with water and so on. And they are like super light fast colors. Like everything is super light fast, like 5 stars or more. I think only some blues are not. And you might wonder, why didn't I order the blues? I don't really use blues in my paintings. I only have like a couple of blues that I really like. Blues are not my thing. So that's why I didn't order them. Like everybody to their own. I'm not going to order everything, especially if I know I'm not going to use them. So yeah, that's it. I'm not going to, I'm just going to use a palette because I just want to see what the colors are, how they look like. I'm not gonna right now put them into my big pan that I have, because I want to do that also when the Shire is there, and you know, then I'm gonna swatch everything. I just made like a very big palette with all my super granulating and my special handmade watercolors. So I'm just gonna wait for that one. But for now, we're just gonna use this one. By the way, this is a nice ceramic palette that I have. This is from Caitlin Bongers. I bought it on Etsy. Anyway, it's a really nice palette. It's a moon shape. So I'm just gonna use this one. And I'm going to put just tiny bit of paint in this, and then, you know, we're gonna do some swatches and some stuff, okay? But remember, I only have the Volcano in the desert, and I'm gonna show you them to you, okay? The funny part is you can buy them in a set, but I bought them from one shop here in the Netherlands, and they come in these wonderful wooden boxes, okay? And this is one, and this is the other one, and the forest should come also. You can see that they have the logo from schminke here, and this is really nice. It's like done with the wood burner and so on. And I put the colors here up. I'm not sure should I start. I will start with the desert, and I'm gonna show you how they look like inside. So it comes with a little knob here, and they come like this. They're really big tubes, right? This time they're really big tubes. The other ones are just 5 milliliter. They're just tiny tubes. The the good thing is I don't have to buy a second set, because the last one, because the tubes are so little and I know I'm using them a lot, I actually bought 2 sets of each so that I don't run out, because they are also limited edition. Okay, so because they're limited edition, they're not always going to be present and all of that stuff, right? But look at this. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the desert set, right? So you can already see it's really nice. This is a yellow green kind of. This is an orange, and these are some really nice. I will tell you how they are called and so on. So the first one says desert yellow, then you have a desert orange, a desert brown, a desert green, and a desert gray. So this last one should be gray. Okay, so I'm just going to put a tiny bit of color in this one, and then we're gonna swatch. By the way, I have my Etcher sketchbook for the swatching and everything, and you can see that I already used a lot of it. This is just the A4. So okay, oh wow, I opened it and it already starts putting so I'm just gonna put, this is the desert yellow. I don't want to put a lot. I'm just gonna put a little bit. Desert yellow. Of course I'm gonna put a lot more when I'm going to put it in a pan. And okay, desert orange, and then I'm going to do this desert brown. Brown looks more like a yellow brown. Doesn't look very interesting. Okay, desert brown. I'm more interested in the green because, you know, I like greens for all my stuff. So I'm going to do the green here. Yeah, what happens is sometimes in the tubes the binding separates from the colors. It's really unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm going to take this off. I'm gonna rinse my brush. Okay, and I'm going to try to mix in the tube. I don't like it when the too much binder separates, but it is what it is. Not all the colors are. Sometimes when the binder really separates, then the colors inside will dry out. Okay, and binder is just gum arabic. Okay. Okay, so that was the desert green, and now let's see this one, the desert gray. The desert gray looks more like a green, so I am mixing it a little bit, and then that's it. And I'm gonna put them aside. Okay, so this is the first set. I'm gonna put this one aside, and I'm just gonna do some swatches, which is gonna be, I'm gonna run down the color more concentrated in the beginning, just some small lines. They're just 5, so that should be fine. Using my number 8. Afterwards we're gonna do some different maybe pebbles or something with the colors, just to see how they work, but for now that's all I'm doing. So I'm using my number 8 brush, and I am picking up the color. So this is the desert yellow. Let's see, looks more like a green to me, but okay, it's a green yellow. I am doing some water. I want to see also till where you can already see that it's super granulating, right? And it can get really light. When it gets lighter, it gets a little bit lesser green, I would say. But yeah, it's pretty green. It looks a little bit like the colors from the Japanese set that I had. Because they had the dark yellow and so on. So this is what it looks like. I would be curious to know what are the colors that they use. So all the super granulating, they're not single pigments, they are always 2 or 3 pigments, and what they do is they mix them. So that means that, for example, the galaxy pink that it was Potter's pink with another color. So that's why it's okay. This is the orange. This is the by the way, the etcher notebook is cold press, so you can already see that you have some nice catching of color. So this orange, you can see that already it's separating, and what is separating is it's separating into some sort of brown and a yellow. So oh no, more like a red and a yellow. So you can really see the 2 pigments separating, which is really nice. Okay, this is what's nice about the super granulating, is that it separates in the 2 colors or 3 colors that is being made of. So you can get really nice, depending on how much water you do, you can get really nice stuff there. Okay, which one was the third one? It was the desert brown. So I'm expecting this one to be a more interesting brown than the galaxy brown. The galaxy brown is very reddish because it was mixed with like lots of red and stuff. I'm wondering, the desert brown is probably mixed with yellow, and this is what yeah, it's mixed with yellow. You can see some things here, it's more like a gold yellow that is being mixed. So you can see already that it starts to separate. Even this one, I think it's a yellow mixed with a little bit of green and so on. So you can see what type of nice colors you're getting. Okay, this was desert green, and I'm gonna mix a little bit. There was some binding left here, binder, but that's okay. Wow, this is such a dark green. You might think, what is this, really green? I think so, yeah. It's a green, desert green, but look, it's mixed with a red. So if you're looking very closely, it's a really nice green, like a viridian. It looks like a viridian that is mixed with red. It really looks nice, and this is what makes them so special, because that they're already pre-mixed colors. And I'm gonna do the gray. I wonder what the gray is mixed with. I'm assuming the gray is mixed with green. Look, this already separated in the red and the green. It's so funny. And this separated in more brown, yellow. This is red and yellow. They're already separating. It's amazing. The more water you put, the nicer you get. Of course, this is 100% cotton, but it's really nice. Wow, the colors are really nice. I'm impressed by this green, to be honest, because it has flecks of red in it, and about this brown with the yellow. Really impressed, and the gray is really mixed with green. So wow, these are so cool colors. Okay, first impression so far, I'm really impressed. I'm gonna say it. Okay, we're gonna do some fun stuff. Okay, now that I have this one, what I want is I want to swatch the other ones on this other side. So I'm gonna move this one like here, and I'm going to put the paints, so two and one here. So I'm going to take this other one. So you see that I have this is Volcano, so it's like Volcano yellow, Volcano orange, Volcano red. So I'm expecting lots of stuff from the red. Volcano violet, the violet looks divine in this one, but you never know. Volcano brown, so this is gonna be really nice colors, I'm pretty sure. So we're just gonna open it. Okay, and we're just gonna put tiny bit of color. So let's start with the Volcano yellow. That's why, you know, one tip is to always don't put in your pans directly, like as you open a tube. Is always going to be some binding agents first. So that one is something you should always look out for. So that's why I first always do this in a separate part, and then the remaining color it's going to be fine with the binding and all. I hope my brush doesn't get too much. Okay, I'm not liking this orange because it just runs, the binding product just runs away. Was expecting a little bit more from the schminke guys, to be honest. Okay, now I'm gonna do the red and let's see how the red is. At least the binding on the red is not that bad. Okay, like don't get scared because you can mix it and then it will be mixed, but I don't like that all the binder just gets out. Okay, this is the violet. It looks a little bit like the galaxy pink, but I have, and this last one is the volcano brown. So let's see how the volcano brown looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna just pick up water on my brush and then mix the color with the binding. To be honest, that's what you need to do. And I'm not saying they're low quality, I'm just saying that somehow the pigments and the bindings didn't necessarily bind well together. So as a first impression, I'm not very happy with it. But let's start with the Vulcan yellow. I expect this to be very bright yellow, very much different than the other one. Yeah, look at this. This is so nice. I wonder what pigments they are. This is a really bright yellow. I'm enjoying this, although I probably will never use this yellow. Sometimes you might wonder why I don't like very bright colors, but what I will use it with is mixing it with other colors. That will work. You see how I mix the binder into the paint and now the paint is smooth and nice? That's all you need to do. So this was the Vulcan orange. Wow, this is such a dark orange. Such a pretty color. This doesn't look like it's made out of different colors, different pigments, but we'll see when it dries, because when it dries, look at this one, it dries, it will just separate a little bit. Okay, so that's why it's good to swatch them. Okay, then I have the Vulcan red. I expect this to be a really nice bright red, to be honest. So let's see. Oh yeah, it's more of a purplish red. So I think this red was mixed with some purple. I'm expecting some separation here. It's a very cool red. So this is very warm color. This is also warmish, but this is a really cool red. So it was mixed with a maybe blue or something, just to make it more violet looking. Okay, now the actual violet. Let's look how it's gonna look like. This is such a pretty color. It's probably gonna be one of my new favorite. Oh god, this is a darker form of the Potter's pink and the Galaxy pink. This is so beautiful. It's definitely mixed with red. I can see already that it's super granulating into red. Look at here. This is violet and this is red pigment, and it's already separating. It's so pretty. Okay, the last one is going to be the brown. So I'm just going to see what we have on the brown. Remember that there was a brown here, this one. Wow, this is much darker brown. That's a tiny. This is a much darker brown, but it looks like it's been mixed with the red, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's a brown mixed with red. These are the two colors. So these Vulcan ones, they all have red pigments in it. Look how beautiful they dry. Okay. So, this one ran into it. It's okay. There's nothing. You can already see on the palette that this one already decomposes. This one was the pink into the violet, and the other one, this one also decomposes into the red, right? So this was the green. This is the actual green here, the viridian, this color. So you can kind of see which colors is it composed into directly on the palette. This looks really nice. So let's look at it. This green, and even this one, this gray is more green, right? It's more of a gray green. So, and because it has this yellow in it, that's why it looks more towards gray. This one is also nice yellow but with tints of green, right? And this brown, it's much different than this brown, right? And I really like how the colors separate. This is really going to be nice. So I'm going to go and I'm going to use these colors to make something on this other page, okay? And then I'm going to let this side dry completely before I show it to you exactly, right? But so far I'm really impressed with all of them. They really look nice. I'm not even sure. Hey, can you see that on the camera? Can you see the separation of the colors? Can you see on this one? This is the Vulcan brown. It really separates into a more like a burnt umber with red, right? It really is nice. And this one also. This one is gonna be nice. This one, I cannot wait to use this one. The pink. This is like some of my favorite colors. They're gonna become some of my favorite colors. Let's put it this way. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. Okay, then I want to have a more of a bigger surface where I can observe the super granulation and the splitting of the colors. So we're gonna do like pebbles or stuff like that. Okay, and that's when I'm going to add lots of water. I'm gonna see how they actually react with water. Okay, this is just the swatch, and the swatch already looks really beautiful. So I have my other part here. I'm gonna get the palette here, and we're gonna start. I'm gonna start from here, and I'm gonna do some pebbles. And pebbles, by pebbles I mean some circles and various shapes, and I'm gonna see how that works. Okay. I'm adding water in the middle, and I'm going to add more concentrated in the margins. Let's see how that goes. Right. You can already see how the colors look really nice. What I want to do afterwards is I want to do some drawings on top, just to see how different colors, for example like gouache white or maybe black or just ink, sits on top of it, right? So I'm just going to have to have some fun. The yellow really got overpowered by the orange. This is a really bright yellow. Not my cup of tea, but still pretty nice. Let's see the red. These first pigments, they don't look like they're to be a mix of two different pigments, so I don't know. They don't run out. What I was testing with this one to see if they spread around. Some people, some watercolors do spread around where water isn't even there. So just this is what I wanted to test to see, you know, what's going on, and to see if something will. And then what I'm testing here is how is layering going, right? Is layering okay? And then if I can lift them up and to see if they're staining or not. The red seems okay, and the orange is a bit stainy. Yellow, as always, a bit stainy. It's okay. Johan, looks nice. One color has so many colors in them. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's do this one. Oh wow, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. And I don't know why I was whispering, but I have a feeling that I'm just whispering because I like them so much. I don't want to ruin the magic. And then what you can see also, how are they reacting when you add water to them, right? And when you add more color into it, you can already see the super granulation. What you need to be careful on these ones is they tend to do really hard edges when they dry, right? So you should be very careful of that. Okay, this is the last one on this line. Oh, look at that beautiful red. from the brown. The brown has a really beautiful red. Saves you the trouble of trying to mix and match yourself colors, but they're so pretty. Right. Okay. And now we're gonna go into this other one. This is the desert green. Now the desert brown, they had the green in it. Or was it the desert green? Don't remember. Looks like the desert green. Wow. Let's see how they react to water and if you can lift them up. Okay, kinda can lift them up. I forgot about this one. This was the brown. No, this was the gray, the desert gray. This was the desert gray. That was the desert green. Yeah, this was the gray. The gray looks more like a sepia with green in it. Oops. I did some boo-boo there. Nice. I'm gonna get the brown now. You know, when you look at the brown, it looks a lot like burnt umber, to be honest. So it looks like it's a combination of burnt umber with something. Burnt umber with some green in it. And so on. And some red and yellow. This was the desert orange, right? Okay, cool. And the last one was the desert yellow. So let's do that. The desert yellow, which looks more like a olive green, but it's really nice. The difference between this one, like you could get the same color from the Japanese watercolors thingy, but the difference between this and that one is that this is transparent, right? And the other one is not. So although you will get the same colors, the other ones were not. Okay, it's really nice. You know, I think these colors, you could see them even nicer. Let me just pick up some of this orange. I don't like that. I have so much orange in this one. But that's because of that binding agent. I'm just gonna say that I don't need that much orange because I want to have some more yellow to do some different things. So I'm going to do that. I'm cleaning up my palette while this one's dry. Okay, nice. So how did this look like? I think I gotten to know them pretty well. I'm surprised that they ever had this kind of Vulcan yellow, like this kind of very very weird yellow, because all the schminke is super granulating. They're not really that bright colors, so I'm very surprised that such a bright color made it to the mix. Okay, I'm really not liking the orange here. It's really spreading around like crazy. So I'm just gonna pick it up because I want all of this to dry, because I want to see how we can do some doodles on top of them and how they would look like. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to prepare this palette because I want to try some stuff. I'm going to try some leaves and some very simple things. So let me get the colors again, the Vulcan yellow and the Vulcan orange, and I'm going to put again some here. Okay, I'm really trying to to mix it in the tube. It's really unfortunate that these two colors, these are the only two colors that the binding is really not set correctly. I had a color like this where the binding all ran out and wasn't mixed properly in the stuff, and there was a brown, and that brown kind of dried out, right? So I don't want to have that one because the binder is there to ensure that the colors don't dry out. So that's the only thing. Was not expecting this from schminke colors, to be honest. Okay, my first impression. They should have taken care a little bit more of these colors. So that's all. I'm even going to pick up the binder from this one. I don't want it. You know, it could be that, you know, there are some pigments that really don't bind correctly to their binder, but I don't know. I just don't understand why it will do so for these colors and not for the others, but okay, fine. You know, and this is the main reason why I don't directly. So what night designs could you make with these colors? So to be honest, these colors would look very nice on the loose watercolor. So on things like nature, landscapes, and so on, they will look really nice because they just, as you can see, they are separating. So this will look nice. Now on my style of watercolor, unfortunately, what will happen is I'm very much controlled and I'm doing flowers. That means that the surface where I'm putting these colors is not that big. So the super granulation won't be that visible, unfortunately, right? So I would use them for my flowers as well, but I don't expect the same super granulation because the size of the flowers that I'm doing are too tiny. But I would say these colors are perfect for things like landscapes and so on. So yeah, for whoever wants to get them, they're really nice. They're really nice. I would say also loose watercolor flowers and loose watercolors. Those would be really nice because on the leaves and on everything you will get really nice colors. So, okay, I mixed them as much as I could, and now I really wanna dry these ones because I don't wanna put other colors on top while it's still wet, and I can feel that it's still wet because it is still cold to the touch. Okay, so do not stress. Okay. Marlena is liking the colors. Yeah, I'm liking them also. What I like the most about these colors is because they're super granulating. Once they dry, you can see the cracks in the paint, but you can see that the paint sits on top of the paper, so you can run your hands over it. It's really nice sounds. Makes it really nice. Okay, let's see how different mediums sit on top of it. I would get maybe a brush, maybe some gold, some white. What else? Should I get the blue? No. Maybe some gouache. That'll be interesting. The gouache. I'm not sure if I have the gouache here. Okay. I have my gouache box, and I'll just get some white gouache. There we go. Some white gouache. And let me see, where should we put the white gouache into? We can put it in this one. I have a lot of these tiny palettes that I can use for it. So we have a white gel pen, we have the gold gel pen. I have a really black ink kind of from the Microns, and then some white gouache. So I'm going to do the white gouache right now, and then we're just gonna do some simple leaves and some doodles on top of it, as I really want to see how they behave with like different mediums on top of it. I mean, of course you can do, okay. Of course you can do just normal watercolors, but it will be a shame because they're so pretty. You can definitely do things like mixed media. Okay, I'm gonna leave that one there, and then I'm going to come with a smaller brush. Okay, a smaller brush. I'm gonna pick this one, and I just want to see what I'm trying to see is here, like when I'm reweighting, am I picking up all the pigment. How does it look? Is the gouache going to be opaque or not on top of it? You know, there's always this question that I have. So I'm just gonna mix my gouache. And gouache is normally very opaque, but some colors are very stubborn, I would say. Okay, so let's see how it looks like. Okay, on this green I'm gonna do like this. Looks okay. So this is the gray. So it's okay, looks good. It's not that bad. Definitely not totally opaque. So that's gonna be interesting. Let me try maybe with a bigger brush, see how that goes. On this one. Okay. This is a bigger brush, so if it's washed out, then you can kind of see the underlayer. So the color is still pretty potent, but what I'm noticing is, for example, on this one, when I'm mixing this is supposed to be white, but what I'm noticing is that it's picking up the color from underneath. So you have to be careful when you are layering stuff, because it will pick up the colors from underneath. Okay, cool. I think I played enough with the gouache. I would say let's use this one. This is Micron pen, and I'm going to do just some doodles. What I'm looking for when I'm doing doodles with the pen is how much does the paper snags, and it snags a lot, so I have to put pressure to do this. That's because the paint sits on top of it, so you know. So yeah, you can kind of hear it. Yeah, but this one works okay, but it's also very broad nib. It's a number 1, right? So I could do it. I'm just wondering how these other ones will look like on top. This is a blue one. Just wanted to do. This is like a 0.5. It's okay. It can sit on top. It looks okay. Now let's go with the Uniball Signal pen. And I think I want it on this one. Okay. It looks like the Uniball pen has quite some trouble. It's really super granulating, and this one needs a smooth surface to run. So when it doesn't have a smooth surface, then it's gonna be very difficult for it to. So me adding details at the end with the white gel pen, I'm noticing that it's gonna have a lot of trouble. Look at this one. I mean, it's really nice, but the pen really snags. So you have to be very careful. Okay. It certainly gives it a good texture, but yeah, the gel pen is gonna be interesting. Okay. And then I'm going to try the other one. Okay. This is the gold pen. Just gonna try some lines, see how that goes. The gold pen looks to glide easier. I guess this one, because this one looks like it has 3 colors, so 3 pigments. It doesn't look like it. Let me try with the white gel pen on this one. It definitely glides easier on this brown than on this green. Okay, what other nice stuff you can do? Definitely, like I said, landscapes and anything. Or if you have bigger areas. So imagine that I'm gonna make a painting, and that painting is going to have maybe a background. So with these colors, you can easily do a background that has lots of texture, lots of cool stuff. So then in the past, for example, when I was doing a background for one of my characters, I had to utilize a lot of things like salt and stuff just to get some texture. But yeah, I don't see the need here because this one already will have the texture. So it will be fine. So that's where I would use it. And to be honest, maybe also it will look nice when you're doing things like galaxy. So when you're doing galaxies and other stuff, because of the super granulation, it will look really nice. Okay. Let's try again. I'm just trying to do random doodles, to be honest. You can hear it. Oh, wait. Let me put it closer to the microphone. You'll hear it now. Because the pigment is so much. Okay, now you heard it. Was the last one. Actually, maybe wanted a little bit more gouache. Okay. Let's see if gouache will look okay on top of the yellow. Yellow is so bright that even if you are adding white on top of it, it's not gonna show that much, to be honest. Okay. Well, enough playing around. I would say that I will pick up my other notebook. I just want to make a very fast composition with some leaves and stuff. So I'm going to use a lot of all these colors that I like. Maybe I'm not going to use all the colors, but I will definitely use some of the colors like this, the greens and the grays, and this one maybe. So let's see. I'm going to move this one away. I hope you're still with me. Okay. This is my tiny moleskin. Let me show you what I've been doing here. I've just been doing like really simple designs here. Here as well, I was using some of these really nice colors, handmade watercolors, and this one is also handmade watercolors. So I will just start a new spread. I'm gonna steal from the other one. I mean, I just want to make sure that it stays closed and it doesn't warp. And this one also, we just need to make sure that it stays closed and doesn't warp. Okay. And then I'm just gonna use my watercolors here. And which one was that? That was the desert yellow. I think I need some desert yellow and some desert, because I want to have them. Desert yellow. And desert orange. What are the colors? The gray. I think the desert gray I need a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to try to mix them up really good. Okay, cool. I'm gonna use a number 4 brush. Okay, and then we're just going to do simple leaves. So simple leaves means it's going to be in clusters of 2 or 3, and then we're gonna let them, going to do something like with the yellow and orange, and then we're gonna do some with darker colors, tinier. Okay, so where will I start? Here. You might wonder, why don't I use a tinier version of a 100% watercolor paper? Why do I use moleskin? And there's a good reason for that. okay? And that is because the moleskin, being not 100% watercolor, actually what it gives you the possibility to really play around with the effects that you get, right? The effects can be very random, so don't get sidetracked by the fact that I'm doing this. I am definitely not controlling the effects on this paper. But because it's not 100% watercolor, 100% cotton, then the effects are really nice, right? So it's okay. I think we can all just I'm really liking to do this kind of loose watercolor on the moleskin instead of the maybe 100% cotton. It just behaves differently. So, you know, you get just totally different look and feel, and totally different awesome stuff. And the more water you do, nicer it gets. And you have to wait for it to dry, okay? Because you're gonna have you notice what I'm doing here is I'm just using the belly of the brush. I'm not doing much. And this is a number 4. I'm gonna go switch to maybe a bigger one. But yeah, I'm just trying to push the colors to see how they do. Like, in which colors do they transform? What do they do? How do they react to the others? Yeah, that's nice. Now I'm gonna go to the next color. It's gonna be this orange, and I'm gonna do the same, just the leaves are gonna be slightly smaller. So I'm picking up more water because I really want the orange to decompose into its components, and we'll see how that looks like. This orange looks more like a brown, to be honest, but okay, it's a desert orange, so I can understand why it looks like this. I mean, in the desert, the orange comes from the decomposing of the stone, right? So that's why it has this color. It's not gonna be a real orange from flowers or anything. Okay, looks really nice. And this is a good way to practice your loose watercolors, okay? Because otherwise you never will have practice enough. So just get this moleskin watercolor notebook and use it for this kind of things. I can guarantee you that in about a month, if you utilized all the pages, then you would have had like awesome results. Okay, now we're gonna go into more darker territory. Wow, this has such a nice contrast. I need more water to see it play around, but yeah. The green is gorgeous. The desert green, to be honest. I think it's becoming one of my favorite greens ever. Just, I don't know why, but just because I guess it has 3 colors in it and it's so pretty. Then you can see the range of colors that you can get when you do this. You can see the range of coolness. Okay. Where I think I've done enough. Do you think it needs a little bit more? No. Maybe 1 or 2 here. A lone leaf here and there. You can also do lone leaves. It doesn't have to be only this kind of leaves. Okay, it looks really nice. I'm just going to have to leave it to dry, just to see how it dries, right? But then we can go further with our colors for this one. And then, which one should we do first? Let's start with this beautiful color here. I don't even know what color this is. I'm just gonna assume it's one nice one. Yeah, it's brown, one of those browns. It's okay. We're gonna go with a more lighter color later on. Okay, so initially, when I was in my beginning watercolor journey, I didn't like the moleskin ones because in my style, like when you do a very controlled illustrative style, this paper is not good enough and the colors don't do what you want. And then I think in a way you need to get a little bit better at watercolor before you can actually graduate to this paper, because you need to know when to let go and when to do certain things. And honestly, I don't think if you're a beginner watercolor artist, this paper is for you. I think you need to be a little bit more based with your colors to know how to behave on this paper, because you need to understand that you don't have a lot of control on this paper about where things go and how things behave. You don't have control. Like you see, it makes random blooms. I mean, these blooms are really nice and they're really random, but if you're not prepared for them, then you get really frustrated. So I would say, you know, be careful what you wish for in a way. Okay. The brown has really a lot of red in it. And the more you water it down, the more it becomes more gray. It's really nice. Okay. Which one should I do? let's go with our favorite color. And that is this beautiful color. Okay. I think I need to go with a bigger brush maybe. But I'm just too scared to go. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to vary the direction in which the leaves are there, because then it doesn't look so uniform. I don't want things to be uniform. I want things to be jumping out of things. And then a third color, maybe this beautiful green here. We're just gonna do it here. This is a green gray. It's really pretty, but really muted. It's the desert gray, this one. You can see how muted it is. The beauty of these colors on this paper is that the amount of awesomeness and awesome separation is amazing. Like, this is textures you don't normally get on normal watercolor paper, like on normal things. Okay, let's try some red now, just to see the contrast. And maybe I'll add some red on this one. The red is such a warm color. The contrast is very big with really cool colors. So I would say that the desert colors are very cool colors, and the Volcano is very warm colors. It's okay. These are very simple leaves. Let me see. You might not actually see what I'm doing here, but it's okay. You get the idea, right? I didn't even want to do flowers because it makes no sense for now. I will just do the leaves. It's fine. I can already say that I have my favorite colors out of this entire new set. So this is how you can even make patterns, you know? Just do a spread like this. This looks really nice. This looks like really nice and patterny and so on. And at the end, you can add with your gel pens or Micron pens, you know, you can add the stems of the leaves, and then that will make them even more pop out. I'm not gonna do that now because it's not dry, right? So I don't wanna mess things up, but I'm really happy. I'm really happy with the colors that I'm getting and also the separation that I'm getting. I would say that the nicest parts are this brown with the red inside. So I would say the Vulcan brown, it's really nice. Then also the Vulcan violet, awesome. Okay, I would say that from this one, the Vulcan green or the desert green is the nicest one. The orange and the yellow, they're nice, but you know, if I would have to choose my favorites, those will be it. So that's kind of it. Yeah, I think I've done enough to say this is how they look like and this is what it will be. But I hope you enjoyed tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for staying with me. See you next time, probably next Wednesday, and then we're just gonna do our normal watercolor tutorial, watercolor flowers, and we're gonna do them nice, and probably we're gonna use the new colors for the watercolor flowers. Okay, but until then, see you, have fun. It was awesome. Okay.